What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast, episode number 87, talking about questions or just things in general to help you get it to better know yourself. So if you are in here or rewatching this, make sure to leave it in the comments just like I see who's in here or see who's watching as well. A few things I want to mention before I actually get into the content today. First thing I want to mention is that we have hit 200 subscribers, which is a big accomplishment. It's nothing crazy, but nonetheless, it should be celebrated. So 200 subscribers. Appreciate everyone who has supported me up to this point, and I will continue my journey with this for sure. Other than that, yeah, make sure you go ahead and like my TikToks. I posted a few yesterday, so it's just Life of a Champ podcast on TikTok. It should be in my channel description, as well as my YouTube shorts as well. Make sure you go ahead and leave a like on those if you haven't already, and tap in with those as well because I'm posting those weekly as well. Also, I have posted a few videos that are like about 8 to 10 minutes long. So if you're interested in the podcast but cannot watch a full podcast or can't catch it live, I would definitely recommend for you to go ahead and tap in with that for sure. Other than that, I'll definitely get into the content right now. Like I said, if you're in here, make sure to leave it in the comments just like I see who's in here. But yeah, there's a lot of different things and a lot of different elements that kind of go hand in hand with getting to know yourself a little bit better, right? And I feel like for the most part, through my experience and through the experiences that I've seen of others, just by asking them questions, there's not many people that truly know themselves, right? They kind of just they're a victim of life instead of a controller of their destiny, right? And yeah, it is just as simply as that, right? It's simply put that way. There's not a lot of people who are really introspective like they need to, which is why I feel the need to make this podcast. And if you're a person who's not as introspective as you think you should be, I definitely think that it's something that you need to look into a little bit more because um, while the outside world is entertaining and of course is always going to be there, the internal work that it takes to develop your character is something that you're going to need to be conscious of because if you're not conscious of this journey, like I said, fellas, you're going to be a victim of life, and you do not want to be a victim of life. So, yeah, podcasts like this are going to be necessary, and I'm going to do them time and time again. And it's also going to be a little bit of a repeat of some of the content that I have made previously, but we're going to go ahead and get it rocking, right? All right, so the first question that I have, which this is going to be a little bit more than questions. Also, if you're in here and you see areas or see questions that you think people should ask themselves to get to better know themselves, make sure you go and leave in the comments as well. I would appreciate that very much. All right, so the first one is going to be: Are you passionate about things that you do? Are you passionate about the things that you do? Right. This is a question that I would definitely recommend for people to ask. Right. I feel like a lot of people are they're living meaningless lives. Truly, right? Sadly, they're not living a life that is filled with meaning or filled with passion. And obviously, in my opinion, that is no way to live. Quite frankly, right? You're not living, pretty much. You're existing. You're not living, if that makes sense, right? So find the things that you're passionate about and make sure you do them, right? So ask yourself the question: what are things that you're passionate about, right? And do you do enough of these things on a daily basis or on a weekly basis? Because it is very, very easy to get lost into life, right? Lost in the sauce, right? But you need to really take it into account, right? Are you doing what you're passionate about, right? Are you doing it enough? And if you're a person struggling with not being able to do enough things that you are passionate about, you need to create time for that because if you're a person who's just working all the time, right, and you do not have enough time to do the things you're passionate about, it's going to be a very, very mundane and lackluster existence, to say the very least. Shout out to Jade and GDP and Jay. Appreciate for stopping by, man. Appreciate for stopping by. All right. Yeah, like I said, we hit 200 subscribers, so we're lit for that. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get it started from there, right? So yeah, first question, like I said, to get to better know yourself, you're going to need to see if you are doing enough things that you're truly passionate about. And yeah, that's how we're gonna get it started. Also, like I had mentioned, he's tuned in, my boy. Appreciate it, man. If you're in here right now and if you have a question that you think people should ask themselves to get to better know themselves, make sure to leave in the comments. I appreciate it. The next thing that people need to ask themselves, and of course, these questions are going to be a little deep, right? And I feel like a lot of people do not live on that deep of a level. They live very, very superficial lives. And that's the reason why I wanted to make this podcast in specific. Anthony, appreciate you for stopping by. The question that I have for you guys, and this is something that I've asked plenty of people, and truly, they do not have an answer. Most people that I've asked this question, they don't have an answer at all. And there's going to be a few of them that I've asked people, talking to people, and they truly do not have an answer. This one is, what brings you a sense of fulfillment? Do you guys live a life where you guys have fulfilling things that you're constantly doing, right? It kind of goes hand in hand with the question that I previously asked with doing things that you're passionate about, right? But are you truly doing things that bring you a sense of fulfillment, right? And like I said, if you're not doing that, it is your initiative that you should take to do things that truly find fulfillment. Let's just say, for example, you have nothing that you do on a daily basis that truly gives you fulfillment. Then you need to start doing some research. You need to start trying new things. You need to try to strive to do your due diligence in self discovery, right? And figure out what brings you fulfillment in this life, and constantly do it as much as you possibly can, right? Like I mentioned, you do not want to be a victim of life, just constantly going through the motions over and over again, living this mundane existence. That is no way to live, in my opinion. So figure out what brings you fulfillment. Figure out what brings you what are you passionate about, right? And continue to do that and do it as much as you possibly can, right? Me doing this podcast is something that I'm very, very passionate about, and something that brings me a sense of fulfillment. So I will continue to do this as long as it brings me fulfillment, right? The next question that I would have that would help you get to better know yourself is going to be, and like I said, another one of those introspective questions, right? What are qualities that you see that are admirable in other people that you are striving to be like, right? And for example, right, let's just say you're a person that does not have anybody that they truly admire or truly see worthy traits in that person, right? Or like I said, admirable traits. Then you need to do some more research on some people, quite frankly. Um, I don't understand how people live in existence where they don't have people that they look up to in some sense, right? And I'm not saying you should idolize this person and this person is whatever they say go. I'm not saying that person is a god. I'm saying in the sense that they have admirable qualities. For example, right? I made a podcast on this. Was one of my first podcasts that I've made. I think so. There's certain qualities that I see in people that I like, in people that I admire, and um, you need to consciously figure out exactly what traits of a person that you deem to be admirable, and try to emulate that as best you possibly can. For example, right? My favorite artist rather is Big Sean, and one of the qualities that I like from him is that he always speaks about undefeated mindsets. I've said it constantly on this podcast before, right? He speaks on undefeated mindsets. All the things that he talks about within his music are things in ways of thinking that is going to benefit your life truly for the best, and that is something that I deem to be admirable. So therefore, I'm going to try to emulate that in my life because it looks dope and it works out for him great. So why would I not try to have things like that, right? Not a question, but people are so afraid of following their dreams because they don't know if they're good at it. So I guess a quote that sticks with me: You don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great. Exactly. I love that. I love that one. I love that one. Yeah, that he's exactly right. He's exactly right. Tying in with, yeah, I would definitely. People are afraid of failure, right? But they're truly not. They're truly not. Focused on what they could achieve. They're truly not. They're so motivated by fear that they truly do not allow themselves to be open enough to experience what could be. And at the very least, let's just say you do fail in something that you're trying to strive for, right? There's going to be lessons that you can extract from that is going to give you the foundation in order to do something or to do or pursue an endeavor that is going to be your next thing that you're going to need to pursue, right? It's going to give you lessons, and yeah, you got to frame it so you never lose. You got to frame it so you never lose, truly. But like I said, I want to get back to my question that I mentioned, right? And like I said, if you don't have anybody that you truly admire, then you need to do some more research on people that are dope, right? It's as simple as that. Yeah, what qualities do you see that are admirable in others, and are you trying to strive to be like that person, right? If you think that person has worthy traits, I think the only logical thing you should do is to try to be just like that person in that aspect, right? Like I said, there's no person that is perfect, right? But there's certain aspects of certain people that you should find affinity to, and that ability to resonate with that message or with that type of quality should give you the motivation to try to be like that. So definitely strive for that for sure. All right, the next question is a question that I have mentioned on this podcast a few times, but is definitely a great one and one of the most pivotal questions that I've ever asked myself ever. Right? Give me one second. All right, this question is: What type of lifestyle do you want to live? This is something that you'll definitely get to see. You'll see a lot about yourself. You see a lot about yourself by asking this question, right? A lot of people never ask this question. They always ask questions like, "Oh, what career path do I want to choose?" or "How much money do I want to make?" Right? And in reality, the thing that you're looking for, in my opinion, is going to be what lifestyle do you want to live, right? A wise man once said, if you are a person who is in control of the lifestyle that you live, it'll allow you to dictate the rest of what you need to figure out later on in life, right? So you figure out specifically what lifestyle do you want to live. Do you want to live an extravagant lifestyle filled with a lot of luxury, or do you want to just live in a farm or live away from civilization or live away from everybody else, right? Specifically, what lifestyle do you want to live, and that should be your main focus is trying to achieve that lifestyle. Now you need to do whatever you need to do physically or financially rather to go ahead and achieve that, right? You need to find a job or a career or a business that's going to allow you to achieve that, right? But it all stems from that one question, that one foundational question that I think everyone should ask themselves and be very very clear on. I'm not saying have this, kind of blurry image in your head. I want you to know specifically what you want. And if somebody could ask you to describe the lifestyle that you would like to live, you'd be able to vividly give them an image that they'd be able to see for themselves, right? So the question I have for you is, what type of lifestyle do you want to live, right? From there, you can choose whatever career path or business or whatever it's going to take in order to achieve that. You can make the sacrifices on things that are currently not giving you the suggestibility that you're achieving the lifestyle that you want to live. So you can get rid of those things, and you can adapt to new things that you haven't exactly done yet that are going to eventually give you the lifestyle that you want to choose. For example, right? Let's just say you want to go to the gym, right? You see people going to the gym, you see them feeling good, and them obviously looking good as well, right? And let's just say that is a lifestyle that you strive for, right? Taking that step necessary, also eliminating the other things that are counterproductive of living that lifestyle that you're trying to truly live out, right? So make the sacrifices in the areas you need to sacrifice, and also build the skills and traits that you're going to need in order to eventually achieve that lifestyle for sure. Give me 1 second. I'll read the comments quick. What is your take on the following in the steps of these people you need to blow up on social media? Do you think it is a good idea? Now that okay, so I'm gonna answer that question. It's a little off topic, but I'm gonna go ahead and answer that. So I do think there's a little bit of an element of luck. Obviously, you cannot have. There's a lot of people who are very very skillless, who are very very they don't have a lot of substance to their character, and they have an audience, right? I would say a lot of it is consistency. A lot of consistency. It's a lot of persistence. It's a lot of people telling you to quit and you not quitting. A lot of persistence, right? And I do feel like, as I've seen it, right, I do think there's a little bit of an element of luck. So to blow up, you realistically shouldn't have to compromise your character, right? In order to do that, right? You shouldn't have to change yourself to be something that is not genuine. People love genuine people, right? I think that's the way it is, right? That's the type of content that I like. I like people who are genuine and real, or not that are not trying to put on this character that they think that they are, right? Or that people want to see them as, rather, right? I think those are just clowns in my opinion. So yeah, be yourself. If people rock with it. People rock with it. If they don't, then they don't, man. It's as simple as that. You shouldn't have to change yourself, or you shouldn't have to change yourself just to appease some people. It's either, like I said, they fuck with you or they don't fuck with you. It's as simple as that. Give me 1 second though. All right, the next question that I have to get to better know yourself is: are you physically at the place you would like to be? Right. This is a very very important question that you need to ask yourself, because a lot of people truly are not honest with themselves. Right. Their egos are very very fragile when it comes to this question. But you need to be very very honest with yourself. Are you physically at the place that you want to be at? And if not, then of course you're going to have to, adjust your lifestyle to that, right? I'm a huge advocate for the healthiest lifestyle that you possibly can live. I'm a huge advocate for going to the gym, as I do 6 days a week, right? So me going 6 days a week, I'm almost in my second year of working out, right? Am I physically at the place that I would like to be? I'm gonna say no, right? There's always a bigger mountain to climb. There's always a certain look that I'm going for, right? There's always a certain mental state that I'm trying to consistently stay at. So with that being said, You ask yourself that question, and you'll get to better. You'll have a chance to get to know yourself a little bit better by just asking that, right? Absolutely struggling, but yeah, are you physically where you want to be? If not, then you're going to need to learn what you need to learn, and you're going to need to adjust your lifestyle accordingly. Sorry, it's as simple as that. What do you do to? Okay, the next question that I have to get to better know yourself. This is a very very important one as well. What do you do to unwind? Right, and more specifically, do you have healthy ways to unwind, or do you need more healthy ways to unwind? Right. I feel like a lot of people they they have this weird balance, right? So for the people that do like to unwind a lot, maybe they abuse it. Maybe they are taking substances that they probably shouldn't take, or abusing the substances that they probably shouldn't take, and saying that that's hey that's the way that I unwind, right? They give themselves the cop out to the point where it's defeating almost in a way. Then I do see the other side of people who struggle to have things that they can truly unwind to, right? And then they're always uptight and they're always anxious and um, always feeling all these negative emotions because they truly do not have a way to unwind in a healthy manner, right? So ask yourself, what do you do to unwind, right? And from that, see if you need to unwind more or less, and also if you need to unwind more, what is too much, right? You asking all these questions is going to pretty much push you towards your better self and pretty much allow you to get to know yourself a little bit better because, like I said, a lot of people never ask that question, right? And this is why I specifically want to talk about it today because, like I said, I don't see enough people talking about that for sure. But yeah, that's gonna help you. That's gonna help you out for sure. The next question that is going to help you get to better know yourself is going to be, what are three things that you're working towards, and what are things that you're working on right now, right? Answering these questions on a consistent basis, and I would say doing it every so often is going to be very, very pivotal in your life in general, right? So, what are three things you're working towards currently, right? That are worth working towards, and what are three things that you would like to eventually start working towards? For example, right? What are three things that I'm working for or working towards right now? Right, I'm working towards my physical best self, and I'm working towards building this platform, this foundation for this channel. Another thing that I'm working towards is being a better person for the ones around me, right? Acting in ways like being a man of my word. So those are three things that I'm working on, right? What are three things that I'm working towards? Um, I guess you could kind of say it almost is as the same question, but honestly, I don't have too many answers for that, quite frankly, because I'm already putting the work in on a lot of different endeavors. Um, because I've asked myself the right questions, and I've answered the right questions that I need to ask myself. So, therefore, I don't have too many things that I need to be working towards. But yeah, like I said, for example, if you're watching this, right, and ask yourself those questions, right? What are three things you're working towards, and specifically, what are three things that you need to strive to work towards as well, right? Ask yourself those questions, and like I said, you're going to be much better off, and it's going to put you in a position that's going to be way better than where you started. That's for damn sure. So if you're in here right now, I appreciate you for stopping by. Make sure to go and leave a comment. If you are on Twitch, also make sure to go ahead and leave a comment, just like I see you in here. Appreciate it. All right. Also, I wanted to mention a few things just in case there's some new people in here. I recently hit 200 subscribers, thankfully, and like I said, if you're a person who is contributing to that my subscriber count, I appreciate you, and we're gonna continue the journey, man. We're gonna continue the journey. It is very important to understand that lifestyle change requires self-discipline, an accountability partner, and seek assistance from reliable sources. Exactly, and the life, of course. Come on, now. You're exactly right. You're exactly right, Grandma. I appreciate it for stopping by. Um, yeah, everything she said in there was pretty factual, right? The lifestyle that you're going to need is going to be dictated by, or the lifestyle that you want to live is going to be dictated by the amount of self discipline that you can truly instill within your life. And I'm not saying be a dictator of your life. I'm saying be the controller of your destiny. But yeah, you're going to need a lot of different things in this life when it comes to changing your lifestyle, right? Accountability partner. That goes hand in hand with having the support system that's going to allow you to truly thrive. But most people sadly do not have that. But yeah, definitely something you should have for sure. All right. The next question that I would have you ask yourself to get to better know yourself is going to be a very, very important question as well, right? This is probably top three most important on this entire list that I have. And this is going to be, what do you feel your purpose is, right? And if you do not have your purpose, if you do not answer that question, or there's not a thought that comes to mind straight away when it comes to what you feel your purpose is, then you need to take a step back and understand that your purpose is now trying to find your purpose. That's your purpose. Um, what role do you see yourself trying to fulfill, right? In everybody's life, there should be a common thing that you see, whether it's helping people, whether it's trying to inspire people, whether it's trying to educate people, whether it's trying to be just a person for people to rely on, right? Um, whether it's being a person that people can come to have a conversation with, right? What do you feel your purpose is? And like I had mentioned, if you do not know what your purpose is and you cannot give a firm, extended answer, then you're going to need to understand that your purpose is trying to find your purpose. It's simple as that, right? Now, that is another question that I've asked plenty of people, and they truly do not know the answer, right? They haven't asked themselves the right questions. They haven't been fed the right information in order for them to truly succeed, right? And that is definitely a question that gives you your life a little bit more meaning. And in those moments where you have those harsh realities that hit you in the face, right? It allows you to seek something bigger than yourself, right? Your purpose is something bigger than yourself, right? Um, Something bigger than your current circumstance. And with that being said, not having that in life is going to not bring you the most fulfillment that you possibly can have, because you're not striving towards anything that's bigger than a self accomplishment, right? So answering that question right there is going to allow you to live a more fulfilled life. It's going to allow you to have the motivation and self discipline in the moments where you don't want to have either, right? It's going to push you. It's going to push you in that way. And definitely for me, speaking for myself, right? And if you know me in person, you know what I'm going to answer with this question. So if I were to ask myself this question, what is my purpose? My purpose is to inspire, empower, and educate the ones around me and of my influence, right? That is something that I've thought about for over a year now, right? And something that I've constantly said if ever asked that question, I always answer with the same response. Like I said, inspire, empower, and educate the ones around me and of my influence for sure. So be clear. If you're not clear, as clear as I am with my purpose, right? You need to do some more self-discovery. You need to start asking yourself the right questions. You need to start giving yourself the right information to consume to eventually come to that conclusion of what you believe to be your true purpose. Right? A lot of people live purposeless lives, and I that couldn't be me, man. That couldn't be me. And yeah, you need to ask yourself that question. Write down what are things that you possibly feel could be your purpose, and then your purpose is going to be bigger than just even my purpose right now is bigger than just those words that I had said, right? Inspire, empower, and educate, right? My purpose is even grander than that, right? But you need to be clear with what is bigger than yourself, right? You need to find reasons that are bigger than yourself, and it's as simple as that, right? I keep reiterating that, and I've said that on a few podcasts because that's how important that truly is in the grand scheme of life. All right, give me 1 second. All right, this next question, to get to better know yourself and get to better know specifically who you would like to become, is going to be, what type of person do you want people to see you as, right? And this allows you to, it's gonna open up your mind in a lot of different areas, right? When you think of this question, right? More specifically, how do you want your parents to see you? How do you want your siblings to see you? How do you want a stranger to see you? How do you want um, somebody within your family that's not in your immediate family to see you, right? Asking all these questions. How do you want your boss to see you? How do you want your colleagues to see you, right? Asking these questions, right? Be very, very clear with what perception that you want to put on, right? What person that you want to become in order to be that for those people, right? You need to be very, very clear with these things, because this is something that I've done and something that I would recommend for people to do, right? So, specifically, you need to write down all the things that you are, whether you are a son, a daughter, a father, a mother, right? Whatever it is, right? Whatever label you put on yourself, right? Or anything in between, right? Ask yourself, how do you want people to see you, right? What person do you want to become for those people, right? When people think of you, they're going to think of these qualities, right? And if you're not consistent with those qualities, then you're not going to be lined up of to where you would like to be. So, asking yourself those questions in specific is going to give you a lot of benefit, right? And I know I'm saying it fast, and there's obviously a lot more with that, but nonetheless, that's going to give you the foundation, hopefully. So if you want to, take the time and think about these things thoroughly, I would definitely recommend it for sure. Like I said, that's something that I've done, and it allowed me to step back and to kind of disassociate where I am right now and where I want to be, right? And I feel like you can, by being clear with the person that you want to be for other people, right? You can kind of see how close you are to that or not, right? And for me, I'm a lot closer than I thought I was, right? I'm doing the things that I know I should be doing. And of course, there's plenty of things and plenty of opportunities for improvement within that. But it'll allow you to reflect. Like for example, right? Let's just say you are a father, right? This is just hypothetical scenario. You're a father, right? Maybe you're not being the father that you would like, right? When your kids when your kids were, if they were to ask, if somebody were to ask them a question saying, "Hey, how's your father?" Maybe their description of what their father is isn't exactly what you would like to be, or isn't, it isn't exactly what you would like it to be. Therefore, you have the opportunity to now change the ways in which you act in order to be that for them, right? And it is, life is about thinking that deep. Life is about thinking that deep. And like I said, this is going to help you to get to better know yourself, and more specifically, get to know the person that you would like to become for sure. All right. All right, this next question is something that I came up with off the dome, just a few minutes ago, and something that needs to be mentioned for damn sure, right? This is something that people do not think about. Do you feel you properly communicate yourself enough for people to understand and empathize with you? Right, I'm gonna say that one more time. Do you feel that you properly communicate yourself enough for people to understand and empathize with you? Right. One of the things that I've learned with doing this podcast and becoming a better speaker myself is that people truly do not know how to express their ideas in the best way possible, right? I've seen it time and time again, whether it's people that I've observed, or just having conversation with people in my life, right? A lot of people, they they're not able to articulate their words in a way that can get their full point across, right? And this is something that I'm still developing myself, right? And something that I would recommend for everybody to really try to adopt that same mindset, right? Or ask themselves that question, right? Do you feel like you're properly communicating your vision for your mind in a way for people to easily understand, right? Do they truly get you? Do they truly understand and empathize with you? And let's just say, for example, you see yourself not in that position of where you think people see exactly what you see, right? Or think exactly what you think, right? You're not able to articulate your words in a way that is going to resonate with people, and give them that imagery that they need to really empathize with you, right? Let's just say that, for example, right? Then there's an area of improvement right there, right? To maybe to help out your speech, right? That's a big thing that I advocate for as well, because I recognize that most people truly do not know how to speak. Um, they can talk, right? Talking is one thing. Speaking is a whole different thing, right? Yeah, but being able to properly communicate exactly what you feel you need to communicate with another person is one of the most important things in this life, period, right? So if you're a person that is struggling with that is something that you're going to need to take a step back on and say, hey, I need to properly adjust that, because if it's not adjusted, people are never going to truly understand you. They're not going to truly feel you. They'll say that they do, but they really won't, right? And if you're a person that truly wants people to empathize with you and understand you, this is something that you need to make better for yourself, right? And this is something that if you're a person that's not good with their words, you can be more than just that, right? You should strive for more than just that, right? You shouldn't settle for just that reality, because that is a less than ideal reality. So maybe it's time to start speaking more. Maybe it's time to start thinking more, right? Both of those things are going to help your speech. All right, give me 1 second. All right. Also, if you're in the comments and you see maybe a question that I haven't exactly asked, but you think it would help out people when it comes to getting to know themselves, make sure and leave in the comments. I appreciate it. But other than that, I want to say a few things that's going to help you get to better know yourself. Right? I would say never be afraid to challenge yourself. A lot of people do not. They're stuck in this little comfort zone, right? And you need to understand the growth and getting to know yourself is going to be best by stepping out of your comfort zone, right? Don't be afraid to challenge yourself, right? There's going to be plenty of moments where you had that resistance saying, hey, this is foreign. This is foreign to me. And, maybe I'm not ready for it. But sometimes you just need to take that step, right? You need to, like I said, let go of what could potentially happen and then honestly just settle for what actually does happen, right? I feel like a lot of people where they live in that kind of like almost that prevent mentality, and that allows them to be limited in life in general, right? So I would recommend for you to constantly challenge yourself, right? I would advise everyone watching this right now, right? I would advise you to ask yourself questions as well, right? That's going to help you get to better know yourself, right? Be conscious of these things. Ask about 3 to 5 questions a week, right? That are different, that are going to get to help you to get to know yourself a little bit better, right? Like I said, people are not conscious of these things. They do not ask themselves the right questions, right? This is why I see society the way I do, is because, like I said, there's a lackluster of introspection that is needed, that is thoroughly needed. And my only explanation for that is because people are told what to think nowadays instead of, wanting to use their brain. They would much rather just be told what to think. But don't be one of these. Don't be one of those people, man. Don't be one of those people, man. Yeah, but ask yourself 5 questions to get to better know yourself, and you're going to be much better off if you do that frequently, for sure. Also, one thing I want to mention as well. Okay, one thing I want to mention as well is to try to do new things often, right? That's something that I personally need to do, right? And it's something that I challenge you to do as well. You watching this, I challenge you to do this for yourself, right? Try 3 to 5 new things on a weekly basis. And I want you to write them down and your experiences with trying those new things, right? I feel like a lot of people, like I mentioned, are so stuck in this comfort zone that they can't even see themselves wanting to try new things. But the real growth happens and real realizations happen when you try new things, right? You allow yourself to step into another world of potentiality, right? And being vulnerable in that aspect, right? A lot of people do not want to, take a step into that unpredictable foreign zone. But like I had mentioned, if you do that, life's going to be different, different for the better, for damn sure, right? And at the very least, if you don't like what you try, at least you know what you don't like even more, right? And I think it's just about as simple as that. So that's pretty much what I have to say for today's podcast. If you're in here right now watching, if there's anything that you would like to add on to what I had already mentioned with getting to know yourself, make sure to go and leave in the comments. Give me 1 second. Oh man, oh my gosh. All right. Like I said, I appreciate you for stopping by. If you're new watching this, make sure you go and leave a like as well as subscribe. Also, make sure you go ahead and follow me on TikTok. It's just Life of Champ podcast on TikTok, as well as make sure you go ahead and leave a like on my YouTube Shorts as well. Um, I'm posting every single week on that. Also, make sure you go ahead and start watching my 8 to 10 minute long videos that I'm posting weekly as well. That's definitely going to be very, very key when it comes to consuming the podcast. Let's just say, for example, you cannot watch a full podcast, but you still want to hear me talk, and you do not want to hear a 60-second clip. That is definitely going to be the route that I would say for you to go for sure. So tap in with those as well. The most recent ones that I posted, I think the last 2 or 3 that I've posted have been pretty interesting, I would say. So make sure you tap in with those for sure. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna run down the questions that I had for you guys. So I'll run those down, and then I'm gonna go ahead and end this off shortly after. But like I said, if you're in here, make sure you go ahead and leave a like as well as leave a comment because I can see the comments live for sure. All right. The questions are going to be: what are you passionate about, and are you doing enough of the things that you are passionate about? It's pretty simple, right? If you do not know what you're passionate about, that means you need to try new things, right? That means you need to see what other people find passion in and well, see if that works for you, and if not, then you gotta try something else. It's as simple as that, right? And then also you need to ask yourself, let's just say you do know the things that you're passionate about. Are you doing those enough on a consistent basis that is going to bring you true happiness, even though happiness is temporary, right? At the very least, if you're doing things that you're passionate about, that happiness is going to be a feeling that is going to be revisited often, and that's something that's, I would say, ideal. You know, you can't forever be happy, but what you can do is give yourself plenty of opportunities to strive to be happy, right? Um, yeah, I think it's just simple as that. I think it's just simple as that, right? All right. The next question I have is going to be, what brings you a sense of fulfillment, right? Something that I mentioned earlier. Are you truly living a life that brings you a sense of fulfillment? If you're not, then you need to strive for things that are going to bring you fulfillment. And not only one thing I want to mention when it comes to fulfillment, right? And I feel like a lot of people get this twisted, right? Understand that striving things that bring you fulfillment, there's going to be good and bad days with this, whatever this is, right? That brings you fulfillment. It's not always going to bring you endless happiness. That's for damn sure, right? So, for example, right? Let's just say times with this podcast, right? This is something that truly brings me fulfillment. It truly brings my purpose to life. But there's going to be moments of this podcast that I've, have been um, less than ideal, right? That just goes with life, right? Let's just say a video doesn't post, or let's just say a live stream, for whatever reason, gets delayed, right? I don't have control over that, and it's going to give you that roller coaster of emotion, right? And that is going to be what truly brings you fulfillment. Is things that are not always going to keep you happy, but something that is bigger than your current circumstance, and allows you, like I mentioned, to focus on something much grander than the current and present moment. So ask yourself that question. And like I said, if you are living a life where you do have things, thankfully, have things that bring you fulfillment, well, are you doing that enough? And if you're not, hey, you know what you got to do more of. So the next thing is going to be, what are the qualities that you see that are admirable in other people, and are you living up to those things, right? Are you at least striving to be like those people, right? This is something that I'd say I would recommend for a lot of people to do. Of course, there's going to be plenty of great people that exist, and of course, there's plenty of great people, or plenty of people who are less than great that exist right now. But more specifically, focus on the people that you find affinity to, right? What are some qualities that you would like to emulate, right? What are certain things in certain ways that people are that you like, that you're trying to be like, right? Ask yourself those questions, find out those people, and become a better person because of that, right? Become closer to the person that you would like to become by emulating those things. The next question is one of the most pivotal questions that I've ever asked myself, and I'm going to reiterate again. What lifestyle do you want to live? The second you're able to become very, very clear with this is the second that everything else becomes a lot more clear, right? More specifically, what you want to choose for a career or a business is going to become a lot more clear because you ask yourself, what lifestyle do you want to live, right? Like I said, there's a lot of people that they don't like to live. They don't want to live that big, luxurious lifestyle, right? Maybe they're more content with something else, right? And that is completely okay, right? But just be clear with what you would like, and make sure your actions, the life path that you've chosen, is going to be aligned with that. Because there is a lot of people that want this extravagant lifestyle, but they choose a career path that is not meant for that to ever happen, right? And then they complain about the situation that they're in, when in reality it all stems back down to you choosing your career before your lifestyle. And therefore, if you were to choose your career and it's not gonna afford you the lifestyle that you would like to live, then you will never live the lifestyle that you truly want to live, right? And it's as simple as that, right? I feel like a lot of people choose their career before they choose what lifestyle they want to live, right? And sometimes, their career is not able to give them the lifestyle that they want to live. And that's something that you just got to deal with, right? And that is not something that I'm willing to settle for in this life, right? I'm not willing to settle for that. So you should be the same way. Don't settle for something like that if you have the ability to change it, right? All right. The next question is going to be, are you physically at a place where you would like to be? And if this question is a no, which most people watching this, your answer should be a no, right? What do you need to do? You know what you need to do. It's just a matter of doing it, right? Most people know what they need to do. It's just a matter of consistently doing it, right? And doing it specifically when you don't feel like doing it, right? I talked to Anthony about this in the car earlier today when we went to the gym, right? Last Sunday, not this Sunday, 'cause this Sunday was Christmas, but Oh, by the way, I hope you guys had a great Christmas if you're watching this, right? But the Sunday before that, we'd worked out, and we typically do not work out on Sundays, but we realized that what we're trying to achieve is something that is greater than our the way we feel in the moment, right? We both didn't feel physically that great, and we definitely didn't want to be in there because it's a Sunday, and Sunday is usually our rest day. But we knew that we're not physically where we want to be, so therefore we acted in a way that is going to be according to the way that we physically want to be, and that is a person who goes to the gym very, very often and is constantly working on themselves. So therefore, that is what we did, regardless of how we felt, right? If you're a person who's just solely dictated by the way that you feel, you're not going to last very, very long in this life. You're not going to be living the most fulfilled life you possibly can live, right? And it's as simple as that, right? You're going to get into this hedonistic lifestyle that is not going to take you anywhere that you would like to go. Besides, trying to catch the next quickest high, which is something that I wouldn't recommend. Um, but yeah, are you physically where you want to be? If not, hey, you got some work to put in, And it's not about knowing what you need to do. It's about doing what you know you need to do. Simple as that. The next question is, what do you do to unwind? Are you picking up things that you know are good for you and healthy for you to unwind to, or do you have habits that have been instilled within you that are not healthy ways of unwinding? Right? If you are living a life and you have unhealthy ways to unwind, or let's just say obsessive ways to unwind, then therefore you need to go ahead and take a step back and change the ways in which you act. Simple as that. The next one is going to be, what are three things that you're working towards, and what are three things that you would like to work towards eventually, right? Um, and be very, very clear with these things because, like I said, these things are going to be very, very important when it comes to constantly reminding you of what you need to do and of where you're trying to go, for sure. Maybe we've not been the best to work out. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly, exactly. He said, Anthony had mentioned, he goes, maybe the workout wasn't one of the best workouts that we could have had, but we still got it in. Little progress is always better than no progress at all. Exactly. He's exactly right, right? Cannot let your emotions dictate the way in which you live, right? You need to be an observer of your emotions. Emotions are temporary, fellas, like I had mentioned. Be an observer and don't be a victim of your emotions all the time. But like I mentioned, right? Three things that you're working towards, and what are three things that you would like to work towards eventually, right? Answering those questions are going to be very, very pivotal when it comes to trying to live the life that you want to live. The next question is going to be a great question as well, right? What do you feel your purpose is, right? And if you're a person that is living purposeless, then you need to constantly try to strive towards figuring out what your purpose is, right? Do not live a life that is lacking purpose, right? What are you doing this for? What person do you want to become? Asking these questions is going to eventually help you become more clear on what you would like your purpose to be, right? Or what you would, view as the purpose that life has given you, right? But yeah, answering those questions and asking yourself those questions frequently, like I had mentioned. If you do not know what your purpose is to try to find your purpose, right? It's got to be something greater than yourself, fellas. This is going to give you that. This is going to help you with self discipline, right? Being very, very clear with what your purpose is going to help you through those tough times, like we had mentioned, right? All right. The next question, which I have a few more questions, and I'm going to go ahead and end it off. I appreciate everyone for stopping by, though. Is going to be, what type of person do you want people to see you as, right? This is going to be very, very interesting to answer because maybe you're not acting in a way that you would like people to see you as, so therefore you need to change the ways in which you act, right? Make sure you're very, very clear on that. And more specifically for the subcategories in people in specific in your life, right? Let's just say you are a mother, or let's say a father, or let's just say a son or a daughter, or a cousin, or a distant family member. How exactly would you like that person to see you, right? And are you acting in a way that'd be conducive to living that healthy interaction, right? Asking yourself that question and answering it, very, very, very good. The next one is going to be, one thing I didn't mention. This is a question that I completely went past. Right, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Right, this is a very, very good question that everyone should ask themselves, and this is something that is never going to be firm. Right, I feel like even me, right, when I was 17 and I was looking kind of where I would like to be at 21. Right, it's constantly changing. The more you learn things, the more experiences you go through, you're going to become more vivid with the image that you would like to live in that next 5 years, right? But being future focused is something that I would say is definitely key for sure. But yeah, asking yourself, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be at the end of this year? More specifically, where do you want to be at around this time next year, right? Um, is going to allow you to, understand that you need to take some change, or maybe do things exactly the way you're doing them, right? If you do got it like that, right? But yeah, asking yourself, where do you want to be in the next 5 years is definitely going to be a great question to ask yourself for sure. Also, to get to better know yourself and to get to better know the person you want to become, more importantly. The next question is, and the last question that I will ask, right, is going to be: do you feel like you communicate yourself properly enough for people to understand and empathize with you, right? Maybe you need to learn how to speak better. Maybe you need to learn how to express yourself in a way that people can understand a little bit better, right? And that is okay, right? Understand that if you're a person that doesn't empathize well with people, or people don't empathize well with you, or let's just say, for example, right, people truly do not understand you. They say that they understand you. They nod their head and say yes, but they do not truly understand you. Okay, that's fine. It's fine in the sense that you're going to eventually want to strive to communicate better so you can avoid that issue later on. But yeah, that is definitely something that I would recommend for people to ask themselves, because it's going to allow you to take a step back and really analyze the ways in which you communicate, right? And maybe you're communicating in ways that they're not effective, right? And that's okay, right? Because you first need to recognize that the problem exists, right? And then eventually you can take action on it. Give me 1 second. All right. All right. Yeah, and then I'm going to wrap it up with saying these few things, right? Yeah. I advise everyone to ask themselves 5 questions to get to better know themselves, right? Do whatever you got to do to, extract these questions, right? This goes beyond all the questions that I had already asked you. So find 5 new ones. They could be similar, but they cannot be the same. And then also, my challenge for you guys is to try 3 to 5 new things a week. Write them down, and write down your experiences that you've had with them. And constantly strive to try new things, right? Be a little bit more adventurous, right? Because you're going to get to better know what you like and what you don't like about this life, right? And at the very least, also with this as well, right? Travel to a new place. I'm not saying, hey, go to Paris all of a sudden, right? Or go to France all of a sudden, right? I'm not saying this. I'm saying more specifically, just travel outside of your normal mundane life, right? Let's just say going to a new park, or going to a new store, something like that, right? Just go to a new place. I would say twice a month at the very least. Go to new places. Allow yourself to experience new things for sure. That is going to be my recommendation for getting to know yourself a little bit better. Other than that, fellas, I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Make sure you go ahead and leave a like if you haven't already left a like on the video. Um, each person needs to take inventory of themselves, see where they're at, see what they need to change, and where they want to get to. Exactly right. Appreciate you for stopping by. Like I had mentioned, make sure you go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed this podcast. Also, make sure you go ahead and leave a comment regarding your favorite part of the podcast as well. Other than that, fellas, like I said, thank you for 200 subscribers. More work on the way, more subscribers on the way as well. And other than that, like I mentioned, make sure you go and follow me on TikTok, Life of Champ Podcast on TikTok, as well as make sure you go ahead and leave a like on my YouTube Shorts, as well as my longer than YouTube Shorts as well, right? Other than that, fellas, this was Life of Champ Podcast, episode number 87, helping you to get to better know yourself. I'll leave you guys off with the motto for the podcast. Fellas out here, man, we don't just work, man. We outwork, so make sure y'all working these motherfuckers every single day. Don't skip a day neither, man. Unless you need to have a break day. Other than that, fellas, make sure y'all working these motherfuckers every single day. Y'all have a good rest of your nights, and until the next podcast, I'll be having another podcast on Thursday. So make sure you tap in with that. That'll be the last podcast for the entire year. And with that podcast, I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse of what I'm going to be talking about, right? In this next podcast, episode number 88, I'm going to be finishing the year with a podcast helping you get your next year started. And hopefully you have enough time to do all the things you need to do before you go ahead and get the next year started, right? Take over 23, fellas. We taking over, fellas. Make sure you watching this. Take next year very, very seriously, because it needs to be taken very, very seriously. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your nights. And like I said, until Thursday, you guys have a good rest of your night.